social media is a great place for you to find your tribe, right? And so the things that make it great are also the things that make it kind of crap. And it's like, okay, I'm very unique in the sense that I like this particular type of music, or I dress a particular kind of way. And when I was in high school, nobody kind of shared that. But on social media, I can find that, right? I'm not talking
Yeah.
specifically about me. I was just a
Yeah.
nerd.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, no,
I was about to turn on my empathy for you. Okay, I can
yeah,
do
you
that.
should, you should. I used to vomit in the bus every
Zahid
morning.
was definitely a goth kid.
I should have been, but no, I was the nerd. I was a nerdy kid. Vomited in the school
What?
bus every morning,
No
Oh.
on
way.
cue. Yeah, I was that guy you didn't want to sit next to. Anyway, we can talk about it
Wait,
another
what?
day.
Wait. No, no, no. No, no, no. Don't gloss over the.
Welcome to Take 3 and Call Me in the Morning, a podcast where three doctors from three different disciplines cut through the noise and bring nuance and practical insight to conversations about health that actually matter in our day-to-day lives. I'm Vahid, a physician, and I'm joined by Pega, a doctor of clinical psychology, and Adam, a doctor of physical therapy. We bring our perspectives together to connect the dots and tackle the questions, trends, and everyday issues that can leave people unsure of what to believe or what to do next. No gimmicks, no fads, just real conversations grounded in evidence, experience, and a dose of common sense. In today's episode, we share our thoughts on social media. We hope you enjoy.
Well, that was rude.
What are you talking about?
Hey guys. What were we talking about just now? Okay. Welcome to the show. Take 3 and Call Me in the Morning. Today our conversation is going to be about none other than social media. We're even trying to figure out whether this is social media, like a podcast. So, if you know what social media is, maybe you can chime in and put it in the chat, wherever chats are. And you'll soon figure out how little literacy I have around social media. But I will say, according to the Oxford dictionaries, social media is defined as a noun, which are websites and applications that enable users to create and share content or to participate in social networking.
Why
So
are we
here we are.
laughing right now?
I thought you were going to define a noun for a second there, which is a noun, which is
A noun is
Based on the definition you read, Pega, I'm thinking that a podcast is kind of social media, right? Because of the content part of it, and like you were saying earlier before we started recording, the ability to comment on it, I guess. But anyhow, so
I just go with online or remote interactions
okay,
with other beings. Won't even say human beings because dead internet theory. Everything's just a bot at this point. You guys know dead internet theory?
I
no.
don't. Now I want to know.
Okay, well, we're just slowly moving towards everything's AI. That's basically the theory.
Okay, so AI is going to kill the internet. Is that what we're saying?
No, it's just AI talking to AI. Bots talking to bots.
Okay.
Posting bot things.
All right, and we go back to what, like running around in loincloths?
You guys are such boomers.
I know. I mean,
Why are we talking about
Boomers.
social media?
All right.
Mega, quick.
Are not even our generation.
Quick, list 5 social media sites. Go.
Sites. Well, according to what I'm reading, though, it says this is a technology that facilitates the creation, sharing, and aggregation of content. That's exactly what we're doing right now. We're on social
Okay.
media right
So
now.
we're on social media.
Of course, we've got. Well, when I was online dating, I was on social media.
Really? That's
Right?
social media?
Apparently,
Okay.
according to Oxford.
Or another site. So, and then of course there's like the easy ones like Facebook, Instagram,
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, right? Creation of content and interaction with others, creating networks, virtual communities. What else we got? Of
TikTok?
course, TikTok, Snapchat. You guys,
I don't. Is that social media? I thought it was more of like a texty thing. I've never used Snapchat, so I'm definitely showing my age here. Yeah, I missed out on that one. I missed out on.
Yeah, you did. Your
all
kids
that
don't
Why,
use
games.
why
it?
are you bringing this up, Dr. Peggy? Why do you care about social media so much?
Well, I mean, first of all, yes, I have a soapbox and I'm going to sit on it just for a second and then I'll let it go. Okay, Adam?
Stand
Okay.
on it. We do not sit on soap boxes. We
I
stand.
I meditate on my
You
Pega
soapboxes.
sits.
I like find a comfortable position so I can like straight up
And that's all you
meditate.
guys really need to know about Pega.
Yes.
She sits on her soapbox.
And I like hang out on there and it might fray at the edges, but I'm still there. No, but so I would probably I don't even know how long ago it's been now. I want to say definitely like maybe 8 years away from Facebook. And then it was sometime in the middle of 2020, like that I just finally said enough with Instagram too. So I was like, kind of held on for dear life a little bit there with Instagram. And then I finally just went, I gotta go. This
So
is
you
not,
were on social media at some point.
I was, yeah, yeah.
All right.
And it really did impact my mental health. Like we're going to talk about the impact on some, kind of
All right. This is
younger
good.
generations, and I'm just glad I didn't grow up with it because I would have been someone who would have been deeply impacted negatively because I was. So, but yeah, I strongly do have a strong preference toward kind of moving away from some aspects of it. Obviously, I'm interacting with it right now, apparently. So there are positive layers to it, but it kind of reminds me of our previous conversation. What did we talk about last week?
AI.
Oh,
AI.
yeah.
And at the end of it, what we got to was it's the human being who interacts with the technology that's really the issue. And I think that's kind of where, sorry, spoiler alert, we're going to go with this as well. It's what is it? It's the same with, how we, in my world, how we work with any sort of addiction too. It's like inherently the the thing itself isn't the issue. It's how we interact with it. So
I'd agree with that. So let's talk about how it's impacting our health then. You said could be positive, could be negative. Why don't we dive into that a little bit? Anybody?
Just like everything else, there's no good or bad. Everybody's always asking me, is this a good exercise? No. The question is, how does it help you in this moment where you are at? So, similar to the human interacting with social media, are you getting value from it? Are there negative consequences to you using it? What percentage of the time are you devoting to it? The negative aspects of it, I would say, are, at least that I'm aware of, are the hijacking of kind of the dopamine transport systems, the chronic stimulation of our minds. We just aren't bored anymore. We don't have any free thought opportunities anymore, and I think that's particularly problematic for developing brains.
Yeah. So I had a quick look at what's been studied as far as social media and its impact on health. And to that point, Adam, it looks like so there are both positive impacts and negative impacts, but it looks like the group that are mostly affected negatively by social media are those that have developing brains, right? So adolescents that are using social media tend to be the ones who see the negative effects, those being things like increased depression, anxiety, body image issues, changes in eating habit, negative changes in eating habit. It makes me think of basically the magazine era. You know how like folks would look at what everyone looked like in magazines back in my era, I guess, and feel bad about themselves. Like it's that, but like on steroids because you just so much more access to all of this media and it's so fast. And there's a certain distractibility that's increasing, right? So it's almost like I don't want to process something, and so I'll just distract myself with social media. And so again, that adolescent group, but also adults, I feel are part of that. Um, and then we would have to talk about the amount of use. So some of these studies are looking at, okay, how frequently somebody using the social media, whichever one it is, how long per day. And then one study actually talked about routine use versus like emotional connection use, which was interesting. Like somebody that's using it like, oh, as part of my daily routine, I get up, I check my emails, I check my social media account. And then the emotional connection is like, I feel then this need, I have to get in there. Like my happiness or mood depends on what's on social media. And that's obviously more associated with negative things. But there's the positive side, right? So um, there's folks that will learn more about health, actually, healthy behaviors through social media, right? Be it dietary patterns, or maybe they discovered meditation, or maybe they discovered right now what I see a lot of, and maybe it's because of the type of things I look at, but women discovering hormonal therapy for menopause, right? So treatment of menopause and realizing, oh, there's options out there. And that, what that works out to in my world is that the more knowledge people get, they have these questions they can come with now to their healthcare providers and say, hey, you know what? I saw this. Is this something that's useful for me or not? Now, there's the other side of that coin, right? Where there's a lot of misinformation, and that's okay, right? So kind of parsing through the social media and determining what's actually beneficial, or what's, based in something that's useful, and what's really just a product being sold to me. So I guess there's that side of things. What do you guys think? I don't want to ramble on and on, but those are sort of some of the things I was thinking about when I was looking at these studies.
I actually very much agree that there's so much overlap between this and AI, where there's all this content that's been created and we have so much access to it, which is really wonderful. We really do get to be I've always said I really believe that accessibility is key in what I do. I want people to know everything I know about why breathing is helpful. And if they can find that somewhere on the internet, well, I don't know if internet is social media, but you know what I mean? When po- folks create content and put it out there, um, that's wonderful. It's like the more knowledge you can get, the better your life can be. A couple of things that I think can go haywire is, some of the things that the three of us want to maybe tackle one day is health myths, for example. If it is a platform where people can just put something out there, whatever it is, and, do a great job of selling it, sometimes we don't really know what the sources are that we are getting our information. And that could be a problem, if we inundate ourselves with all of this material, back to what we were talking about with AI last time. Do we have those moments or that time where we are really asking ourselves, what do I think about this? That's exactly one of the reasons why I left, was because I felt like there was too much noise in my head. And there was a group think, like a herd mentality of, um, you know, I have to think like this. And I stopped being able to hear myself think and say, well, what do I really think about this? And how does this really fit into my life? And this is where I think, thank goodness, having had a more developed brain when social media became a thing, I think Facebook became a thing right around when I was kind of leaving college. So I at least had some capacity to maybe think for myself, but not really. But yeah, I'm rambling here, but I think that's where I just feel like um, sometimes when I'm talking to people, I'm going, "Did you think that, or did someone else tell you to think that?" Um, and as a therapist, I like to be able to see how my client is interacting with stimuli, right? How are you interacting with this material? How does it hit you? What do you really think about it? Are you afraid of saying it out loud because you're going to get shunned by these communities, and then talk about really feeling badly about yourself, self-esteem, loneliness, all that stuff that we don't want to ever feel because number one, we're social creatures. So, Adam,
Yeah,
what you got?
Adam.
Anything?
I got
All right.
I got nothing. No, I think I like that you brought up being able to understand your own logic trains behind developing an opinion on something, and that's becoming more and more rare. I don't love that, we are being trained almost from a neuroplasticity standpoint to have very short attention spans and be highly motivated by the most significant things, which are fear and anger for most humans, and that is just driving marketing techniques and sales. So now it's like, okay, if I want to create an audience, I'm going to be most successful at having some sort of absurd opinion, or creating anger, or anything discontenting. Is that a word? That feels like a word.
It does. You're a
Yeah.
doctor. It's okay.
Yeah. And then that just leads to a environment and playing field of people doing really hyper excitable, fancy looking things that are just ultimately shit. There's no nuance, especially in, healthcare social media. There's a high lack of nuance. Now I'm starting to see more and more people get out there and be highly nuanced, which I appreciate. Like, Dr. Mike, I think, does a really good job. Both Dr. Mikes, my bro Dr. Mike, meathead Dr. Mike, and then family medicine Dr. Mike.
Yeah.
Israel is kind of a YouTuber. He's a strength and fitness guy. The other Dr. Mike, I think, is a family medicine guy, also YouTuber, but slash podcaster,
I think I
audio
listened to
visual.
him. Yeah. That's why I'm asking because I think
Yeah, he
I
goes
listened
like
to one of his.
super hard into evidence based, almost to a fault with some of his
Mhm.
opinions, in my opinion. Um, but that's good to have somebody like that, because we have so much of the other side where there's an inkling of maybe possible truth because there was one study, in a petri dish that showed something, and now we extrapolate that to human beings, ivermectin. So, it can just kind of go from there.
I think there's also a lot of fear-based sales, right? So if I can make you afraid about something, then you're more likely to listen and feel like you might be missing some really important information for your survival. But if you just took all of that information that's out there on social media when it comes to your health and fear, let's be specific because there's so much I want to narrow it down. Let's say just on dietary pattern, if you were to listen to everybody equally, you wouldn't be able to drink anything or eat anything, period. Right? There's some poison in your water or something, the plastic, the this, the that, because there's so much fear around these things. Either they're selling some kind of a filter, some kind of a supplement, or some kind of a whatever it is. And that is problematic, in my opinion, because a lot of it's, like Adam said, like based on one rat study or something. I'm not talking about the plastics in the water, that's a real thing. But um again, you gotta drink water. But it's so narrow and not applicable to just regular life in so many of these circumstances, but it's enough to create fear and anxiety around decision making around food in this particular example, right? And you can apply that to everything else. And so folks get really confused. Now, social media is a great place for you to find your tribe, right? And so the things that make it great are also the things that make it kind of crap. And it's like, okay, I'm very unique in the sense that I like this particular type of music, or I dress a particular kind of way. And when I was in high school, nobody kind of shared that. But on social media, I can find that, right? I'm not talking specifically about me. I was just a nerd.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. No.
I was about to turn on my empathy for you. Okay, I can
Yeah.
put
You
that away.
should. You should. I used to vomit in the bus every
The Heat
morning.
was definitely a goth kid.
I should have been, but no, I was the nerd. I was a nerdy kid. Vomited in the school
What?
bus every morning.
No
On
way.
cue. Yeah. I was that guy you didn't want to sit next to. Anyway, we can talk about it
Wait,
another
what?
day.
Wait, No. Don't gloss over that. Why did you vomit in the school bus every
In
day?
hindsight, probably anxiety. Like
Bro,
now as an adult looking back at my I'm not trying to take anything away from my upbringing, but yeah, anxiety for many reasons. We don't need to unpack all of that today. I'm happy to do so someday, but we'll have to unpack a lot.
that hurts my heart though.
Does it? Yeah, it was
Young
it was
Vahid getting so anxious that he's throwing up
yeah,
on the school bus.
yeah,
That's
every
that's
single morning.
that's the saddest thing I'm gonna hear all day.
I know.
Uh, so sorry, I'm touched, but I'm also finding it funny.
And
I think it's a
let me
defense
just
mechanism.
say to
Yeah.
the listeners, if you want to hear more about that story, put it in the chat. Isn't this good? Look, I'm
Huh?
learning. Put it in the chat, guys.
Do we have a chat?
And then
What is this? Where
What
is
is a
this
chat?
chat you speak of?
so like I think if people listen to Take 3 and Call Me in the Morning, this is how ignorant I am. I think they can actually go in and comment.
Comment, yeah,
Like,
they can comment.
yeah,
Way
maybe
to
that's what I'm
encourage
trying to
Pega.
say.
Me and Adam are
Just wanted to
bullying
hear
you.
you explain it.
Yeah, like here you
And
are, like
it was everything I hoped it would be.
yeah, she's putting herself out there and like, you know what? I'm not comfortable with this, but I'm going to do this for the sake of the podcast. And you and I are just pooping all over her. I'm sorry, Pega. But yeah, there you can comment. So
Total
you
Request
are correct.
Live. Who was around for Total Request
Ooh.
Live?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know what it is.
It was an MTV.
TRL with
Okay.
Carson.
Yes,
Carson Daly.
Carson Daly. Yeah,
That was my tribe, Vahid.
Really? What was it about?
we're gonna revive that here. It's gonna be called Total Request Live. And when we one day do a live podcast, they can request and say, "Hey, let's go back to Vahid's story of vomiting on the bus," and then I could do some quick EMDR on you. Boom, boom, boom. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be
But
there one day.
anyhow, I don't even know where I was with this, how we got into the vomiting on the bus. But
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah, you guys go because I completely lost my train of thought.
No, now I want to figure out how we got to you vomiting on the bus.
I can't get past it. I need to spend more time.
Okay, I
with
was a nerd. I was anxious. I got bullied a lot. Going to school, and I did well academically, but there was also a lot of pressure to do well academically. That was part of it, getting bullied. But luckily, I found some good friends who continue to be my friends today, whether they like it or not. So, yeah.
Well,
I think
let's turn this into on topic.
Yes, please.
Now. Did you have social media during that time? And if you did or did not, how do you think that would have changed that reaction or response? Do you think it would have been better? Do you think it would have been worse, amplified?
I knew you were useful, Adam. That was perfect. That was beautifully done. So, no, we didn't have social media at the time. If we did have it, all right, I really have to put in the 1940s. I have to not a vampire, Adam, just old. I'm gonna actually put myself into that sort of age for a second here to give you an honest answer. I don't know that I would put any content out at that age. And who I was personality-wise, I would probably consume content, probably feel crappy about myself if everybody on there looked and spoke and acted differently from me. So I don't think it would have been a positive thing for me. However, maybe I would have found other nerds like myself and therefore found some sense of community and connection. The other side of that, though, is the fact that I didn't have social media meant I did have to navigate what that was in real life. I didn't get to sit behind a keyboard and just selectively speak to this group of people. I know you can kind of do that in person, but I actually had to go and sit in a room with people that weren't, necessarily fond of me and navigate that. And I think that's important because ultimately we're part of society. We're not part of just an online society, right? We still live out here in the real world. So I don't think that it would have been great for me to answer your question. Adam, what do you guys think? If you had to answer that question, like, what do you?
I kind of always had, well, not really always had. I had social media probably in college-y, like maybe end of high school, early college. I've never really been a huge social media guy. So I don't really know. I'm kind of half, my generation's the weird millennials that are half in, half out. We were probably the dumbest and most affected by it because we have no idea what we're doing either way. I think a lot of the young kids are doing a lot better with it because they're kind of pushing it away because they see how broken we are. Like, nah, that's not a good look. So it's hard for me to speak to any differences one way or the other. I certainly would not have wanted to put myself out there very much. I mean, it's hard for me to put myself out there here. So I would not have. I was fine in school, had a core group of friends, but definitely timid and shy, and didn't really want to express myself much. So no
Well,
idea.
you're a musician, so I wonder if
But I was behind an instrument.
yeah.
That
But I'm
was a
saying like you could have
superpower.
used social media to sort of get your music out there or your band's music out there, and I think that could be
I
cool.
mean,
I actually
we had a dope MySpace page.
MySpace.
Yeah.
Bring back MySpace. No, don't. No, don't.
Tom, where are you?
Yeah. Tom was everyone's
he
friend.
was your
Yeah.
first friend.
Oh, he had like the white t-shirt on, right?
Yeah.
Like on a boat or something. Wow. It's funny how that image is carved into my brain. For me, gosh, I just feel so much love for little me. I just wanted to be liked so much. And I was super sensitive. And sometimes I think Vahid and I were the same. We're the same person, except for he's like the male version, and I'm the female version. But that'll be put it in the chat if you want more later on that one. But so like the whole like social anxiety and getting bullied. Oh, I just feel bad for her. So I think I would have just that would have been kind of exponentially magnified, and more ways and opportunities for me to kind of get in my own head and wonder if I'm enough or okay, or if people like me, or if I should sit or stand or do whatever to be liked. And at the same time, I was super nerdy, and it was really important that I was good in school. And so, of course, that's a huge repellent when you're a kid. Although I will say, like, by the time I got to high school, I was in the most amazing nerdy program. So if you're a parent and you have a nerdy kid who ends up in an IB program, I'm all about it because I was an IB, and you find your tribe, and they were some of my favorite people in the world. So that happened. Um, but those things inside of me that still wanted to be accepted and wanted continued over time. And so I do remember like even posting something and someone else posting something, just like a question or something that felt like a negation of what I was saying, and I was shattered. I was like, oh my god, like, so and I don't think like, maybe if I were to go back now, I would do it differently, but I don't know. I do sometimes wonder if I've, lost relationships because of it, but in my mind I always just thought if the relationship's supposed to last, it'll last past social media, but maybe I'm just being a little too rigid around that.
Well, I wonder if the generations coming up now are actually using social media to meet people romantically. I don't know. Is that a thing? Probably, right? I mean, I
Oh
wouldn't
yeah,
know.
yeah, there's like social dating, like Facebook dating. Oh, but you mean like slipping into DMs without knowing the person? Do you know what
I
that
don't
means?
know. I know what that means. I know what that looks like too. But I know,
I love this, Adam. We are
uh,
so old compared to you. It's
yeah.
so funny.
Not part of this group.
Adam is like the kid who's embarrassed that his parents are like talking at
Yeah.
the event or whatever.
We are
Um,
elder millennials, you know. It all
uh,
started with us, so.
are we elder millennials?
Mhm.
I'm gonna stick with Gen X just because then I'd rather be a young old
You
guy
want to be the
than an old
baby.
guy.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense? So All right. So we know I'm gonna get it a little focused here. Sorry, guys. I love this topic because it's teaching me a lot about both of you, and I love learning about both of you. So we know from studies done so far that yes, adolescent population for the most part negatively affects their attention, their self-esteem, a lot of negative like healthy risky health behaviors um, associated with it. All right, cool. That's established. However, I will say when I was going through that data that there's trouble with causality. So they couldn't quite link the use of the social media itself with those behaviors necessarily saying that this is what's causing that, but they could make the relationship that these folks that have these behaviors or are experiencing these things are also using social media a lot, right? So that's what I mean by causality for whoever listening. And then also the way they're connecting with it, right? So what we kind of were mentioning earlier, like are they there's actually okay, cool. There's a scale that was developed, and I hope I can find it really quick here. So I found it fascinating. It's called the Bergen, so Bergn, social media addiction scale. So a lot of these questionnaires we do in healthcare, asking questions like, do you spend a lot of time thinking about social media or planning how to use it? Do you feel an urge to use it more and more? Do you use it to forget about personal problems? Have you tried to cut down on the use of social media? So that kind of gives the cage questionnaire vibes, right? For when we're assessing alcohol use and things like that. So there's ways where they're asking these questions and trying to figure out who's susceptible to sort of this problematic use of social media versus quote unquote routine use. So yeah, we need to get a bit more sophisticated in how we're measuring those things and distinguishing between the different types of use. I think that's where the research is still lacking, is that we need to really get much more sophisticated as far as that is concerned. Now let's talk about people more our age or even older, like because I want to move to potentially some of the positive stuff, right? Like I mentioned, you're a musician, Adam, and you might have wanted to put your music on there. Like I discover a lot of cool music on social media. Like when I use it, I discover books, I discover music. Again, it's maybe how I'm using it, and that stuff's getting pushed out to me more. But what are your thoughts on that? What are your personal experiences with that? Like positive things. I know, Pega, you no longer use social media except for, let's say, the podcast, but maybe Adam or Pega, your thoughts on it as a whole.
It definitely levels the playing field a bit in terms of opportunities to get stuff out there. Now you can manipulate that in a whole number of ways, but I think generally we could say that it allows everybody to get stuff out there, distribution of their fill in the blank, music, art, content, whatever the case may be. So that's a good thing. Whereas before, that was a whole industry of weirdness, even just speaking to the music side of things. You had to get in with a label and a distributor, and that was gate kept and all sorts of sketchiness behind that. So that's a positive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I will say I do get a little FOMO when do you guys know what FOMO is?
Yeah, it was looked at in one of these studies. Fear of missing out. Go ahead.
I just want to see
God.
Adam's face.
Like what? You
Poor
didn't know what
Adam
that
is
is,
at
Adam?
a
Was that a new term for you, Adam?
no, of course
No, I
not.
Oh,
appreciate
okay.
you sounding it out for me, though.
Okay.
Do you know what
Oh, yeah. Oh,
FOMO?
fear of missing
FOMO.
out. Yes, I've read about this concept earlier today with
Have you heard
Chad.
about this? Yeah.
But
Actually,
see,
there's a study.
the funny thing is, I'm like, there is FOMO by not being on social media. You see the problem here? I'm still interacting with it.
I love how Adam's so annoyed.
Oh, I love it. Well, Adam we're on like a 12-hour work day, so this is what
Oh,
exhaustion looks like.
that's not the reason. I promise you,
No,
that's not the reason.
Okay, so what's the reason?
FOMO.
Okay. So anyway, but I did realize I missed like birthday parties, anniversary parties, like maybe even a wedding because people were using Facebook to invite, and I stopped going on Facebook, so I didn't go. So that was kind of terrible. But also, like, people would say, oh, there's this event going on, and there's this kind of party going on over here, this thing, and I wouldn't know about it because all the advertisements ended up being on these platforms that I wasn't privy to. So I forget what your question was, but oh yeah, about like being exposed to new material, new content, music, this, that. And the way that I rationalized it in my head, again, you'll see the theme here. If I was supposed to be there, I would have been informed somehow. I think there's a bit of narcissism in this, but
No.
You sitting on that soapbox? I don't know.
I'm still hanging out on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Chilling.
hanging out there. And then there's another aspect that I feel like in the adult world, and again, you don't use social media, but I wonder if this is a thing in your world, Adam, where partners, spouses, will communicate through like sharing different reels and posts, kind of like, hey, saw this, thought about you, and it's almost like a way to connect. And I wonder, is that more positive than negative, or vice versa, where like, would it have been better to sit down and have a proper conversation, or is this kind of actually kind of cool that we can just rapid fire this and not necessarily have to even be in the same room or in the same house? Because that happens a lot. There is one negative thing for sure I can tell you with adult use, because I see it a lot in my line of work, and that's scrolling in bed. That is like the number one thing, at least that I see, that's negative, is folks will just kind of get hooked on it and they'll just go scrolling. What is it called? Is it called doom scrolling? Do you want? I was about. You know what's funny? I was about to
What
call
is
it death
Doom? What does
scrolling.
Doom stand for, Vahid?
I don't know. I was about to call it death scrolling, so that tells you how much I know about this. But yeah, so that's problematic, health wise. And then I feel like it is definitely a distraction. Like, I don't want to deal with cleaning up the house. I don't want to deal with this difficult conversation. I don't want to deal with these thoughts or whatever it is. So I'm just gonna sit here and kind of check out, right? So that's at least what I see going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
A big piece of my work is around discomfort tolerance. And social media is a really good way of just soothing. I think the dopamine hits, the distracting, the not, kind of not interacting with the complicated things of life. It it has that effect. And it's easy to just tune out and to self-soothe in this other way, but the problem is that next time you're going to go and self-soothe again, and there's an endless amount of material for you to scroll through, and it just becomes its own
That's
something.
That's
Death scrolling.
the death death scrolling. I think,
Scrolling.
and that's the problem with it, is that that's how these companies function. It's your eyeballs on the screen is kind of what's being monetized. And so they've designed it with that in mind. So if these platforms were designed in a way that was actually helpful to you, right, that would pump information to you, like with all the data it's collected, that's helpful to you. And again, how would you determine exactly what's helpful and what's not? Of course, but that could be a huge shift. Like, I don't think it's an evil thing. I don't think social media is necessarily a negative thing as a whole. I think it's part of our society now, whether we like it or not. I think these companies could probably do a much better job of ethical sort of programming around it, and maybe those are conversations that are already being had. I have no idea. I doubt it, but yeah,
Hilarious.
I agree with your facial expression, Adam. But as a whole, I feel like it's really up to the individual to use it in a way where you you don't feel like it's taking over your life in a negative way or impacting you negatively. And that comes down to exactly kind of that questionnaire I was going through, the Bergen, whatever scale it was, where do I feel sort of like have to go and look at this thing, or do I feel like I use it too much, or I'm having a hard time? Like I told myself I'm not going to use social media for a couple of days, and I couldn't, reach that goal. I think those are red flags that okay, maybe there is a bit of a problem here. But that's yeah, I don't feel.
Well, how would you guys respond to the fact that China, as a, technically communist society, really has a lot of controls over their social media usage? For example, they limit it to their younger kids to only a certain amount of time per day. They will push more like science and math based content to those kids. So they're really driving and directing some positive social experience. But then it's kind of like, well, where's the freedom?
Yeah. No, I agree with that. With the whole where's the freedom part, in the sense that you're still manipulating information towards somebody, even though it's got theoretically good intentions behind it. You're still pushing this onto that population. So I think that should still be up to the kid and the parents.
Mm. I'm gonna reserve
Why?
judgment there.
No,
Pick a side.
no reservations
China,
allowed here. You gotta
China
say
or
it.
America. Pick
Well,
a side.
it's not. See, here's the moment, right? Here's the moment where I am.
Are you getting China FOMO? You don't want to be left out?
No, the opposite. Like I have this idea, and it's formulating, right? I'm conceptualizing the idea of what I really think. But now that I'm interacting with the two of you, and Vahid, you said it so um, directly, like what did you say, freedom of thought or whatever. Then I'm going, ooh, maybe what I'm thinking is bad. So now I'm already editing because I received some information from social media.
You're censoring yourself
Yeah.
because you're worried about what might be thought about what you say.
Well,
Just say it.
it's a
Worst
group thing.
thing, you get
It's a
canceled, you lose your whole
God,
practice and license.
how dare you refine your opinions based on new evidence?
but at first I want to have my opinion. I
Have
first
it.
want to be able
That's
to
what I'm
say
saying.
what do I really think before I say, well, will I
Hasn't
lose?
been an original thought since Vahid was born in 1582.
Okay, so what I'm
Okay.
thinking right what I'm thinking right now is that it's not all or nothing. It's not China, it's not America, it's not anybody. It's do I like the idea that there is some kind of like limitation on the amount of quote screen time that kids are getting? Now I know one of the arguments here is like parents should be able to decide what that is. Um I don't know. I'm not a parent, so I have to like again, not I wouldn't know what I would think as a parent, but that's something interesting to consider. Like if there's a way to, I guess there might be ways like to limit screen time for kids or limit where they go, which platforms they can use or what content they receive. But
Parents can do all of that right now, but kids always find ways around it. And I think that's going to be similar to whether you're in China, and it's like a whole general thing. Kids are going to do what kids are going to do. And I think as a parent, again, I could be completely flawed in my thinking on this. It's more important that you model the behaviors that you're hoping your kids learn, but also that you build that bond strong enough that when they are exposed to whatever, whether it's via social media or in the cafeteria or wherever it is, because if you're limited on social media, they'll find other ways to to get themselves into trouble. And I think it's more about the connection that a parent has with a kid, and the trust and the sort of the kid feeling safe enough to come to you with all these sort of things. But because I'm on Facebook, I'm part of a group, I think it's called Parenting in a Tech World, and it is scary. Like I read accounts of, things that parents are asking. I'm like, what? Like this could be happening to my kid. And so
Wait,
yeah, going back to the
can
whole,
you give an example?
I I would have to pull it up. Okay, let me see. I think the last one was like, the mom finding out that the daughter was sharing explicit, and daughter's 14, explicit photos with some dude that it turns out nobody really knew who he was. And like this could be some 40-year-old guy, may or may not, and the girl's freaking out, at least felt comfortable enough going to the mom and sitting down saying, look, I messed up. But again, like these are parents that have put all those parental controls in place. They've done all of the things. They're so diligent with everything. And I think you can only take that to a certain point, because the kid's not going to feel like you trust them, right? So they're always trying to circumvent that. So I don't know. It's delicate, and every parent. I don't want to say it should be this way or that way, because I feel like every household has their way of dealing with these things. But trust is a big part of it. But yeah, I see, and I read horror stories like that, and I'm always like, oh my god, like things on Roblox. This is a gaming platform that's horrendous.
Yeah. I
Lots of
mean,
pedophiles on there.
if we have, okay, I know we don't have a lot of time, but if we have laws on underage drinking, and that's regulated by the government, and we have laws around driving at a certain age and voting at a certain age, then why wouldn't we also have some kind of regulation based on maybe even the information that comes out from the research, that will help regulate how kids interact with this material? It may not be a terrible thing. Now I understand, you know,
We don't have consensus. We can't even agree on if space is real.
If the Earth is round.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay. I will comment to what you said, with a thought that completely eludes me now. Completely lost my train of thought. But anyway, it was probably
Leave
for
it
the
in the
best.
chat. Leave it in the
I'll
chat.
leave it in the comments. I'll comment for myself so I can remind myself.
Yeah, and then we do become our OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, pulling it all back around. We got to end on that.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right. Well, that's been interesting. I feel like we could do a whole other episode just on this. It's a fascinating topic. It's a pervasive, real part of our world. Thank you, Pega, for starting us off on this one
Sure.
and sharing your experience. Thank you, Adam, for remembering my birthday.
Absolutely nothing.
All right. Love you guys. I'll catch you
Okay.
next time.
Bye.
Thanks for spending some time with us today on Take 3 and Call Me in the Morning. We hope today's conversation gave you something to think about. If you enjoyed the episode, consider subscribing, leaving a review, or just sharing it with someone who you think would appreciate it. If you want to learn more about us and our individual practices, you can check out Pega's practice on her website, livingfullytherapy.com. If you're interested in Adam's physical therapy practice, you can learn more about his practice on his website, equalizerhealth.com. And if you want to know more about my practice, you can go ahead and check us out at healthyconditions.com. Just a quick reminder before we go, remember this podcast is for informational purposes only, not intended as medical advice. So please talk to your healthcare provider about what's right for you. Until next time, and don't forget, be kind to yourself.